Portugal continued their 100% winning start to this season's Nations League with a 3-1 win over Poland under the lights at Warsaw's Kazimierza Górskiego Stadium. Goals from Cristiano Ronaldo, Bernardo Silva, and an own goal from Jan Bednarek ensured Roberto Martinez's side remained top of their group. With 3 wins from 3 games, Selecao das Quinas went into halftime with a dominant 2-0 lead over Poland in their UEFA Nations League clash, capitalizing on their dominance and clinical finishing. After a shaky start, the visitors quickly took control of the game, and a well-worked team move led to Bernardo Silva's opener in the 26th minute to give Roberto Martinez's side an inevitable lead. Ronaldo isn't one to stay quiet for too long, and after having earlier hit the crossbar, the 39-year-old doubled the lead by tapping in the rebound after Rafael Leao's low shot thudded against the post. Poland's goalkeeper Lukasz Skorupski made a few sharp saves to prevent further damage as the game unfolded in an end-to-end manner, but Portugal's expected goals of 1.95 compared to Poland's 0.35 highlighted their control of the match. In the second half, Poland grew into the game, having the deficit in the 78th minute as Piotr Zielinski slotted the ball beyond Diogo Costa to set up a barnstorming finish. Nevertheless, Portugal were able to get the job done when Bednarek steered the ball into his own net off the post with just a minute left of regular time. Frequently criticized for his supposed selfish style, most notably by Antonio Cassano, Cristiano Ronaldo silenced his doubters with a selfless performance on Saturday night. After hitting the crossbar early on, he more than made up for it by finding the back of the net. However, it was his uncharacteristic willingness to involve his teammates that truly stood out during his hour-long stint. He nearly set up Bruno Fernandes for a goal, only for the midfielder to squander the chance. Ronaldo's intelligent movement and constant presence in and around attacking positions dispelled any doubts about his work rate, proving his critics wrong in a dominant display against Poland. The Danes kept the European champions at a distance for the majority of the game, but Zubimendi's late volley slipped through the gloves of Kasper Schmeichel to give the La Roja their second win and a 1 point at the top of League A Group 4. Denmark began the game on the front foot at the Estadio Enrique Roca de Murcia as Kasper Dolberg latched onto Christian Eriksen's pass to test Spain goalkeeper David Raya in the 3rd minute. Spain captain Alvaro Morata's shot across the goal from an Alejandro Grimaldo cross sailed inches wide of the post in the 21st minute before Lamine Yamal failed to test Schmeichel after beating Rasmus Christensen for pace and getting behind their defense on the stroke of halftime. La Roja made a much brighter start to the second half, though they had to wait until the 68th minute to force a big save out of Schmeichel as he denied Morata from close range. The turning point came with 11 minutes left on the clock as Victor Nelson's headed clearance only reached as far as Zubimendi, who struck a first-time volley from the edge of the box that beat Schmeichel to nestle in the back of the net. Data debrief. La Roja extend unbeaten streak. Luis de la Fuente's Spain are now unbeaten in 13 matches across all competitions, with 11 wins and 2 draws. They have not suffered a defeat since a 1-0 loss to Colombia in a friendly in March. The hosts ended their 3rd match in the group with an expected goals (XG) of 1.55, while their 25 shots equal their highest tally in a Nations League game, 25 against Ukraine in September 2020 under Luis Enrique. Lars Knudsen's Denmark, meanwhile, were completely outplayed in the second period when they did not attempt a single shot. They ended the game with an XG of 0.1 and just 3 shots altogether in 90 minutes, the lowest by a team in a 2024-25 Nations League fixture. Match Event 0. The match is about to start. Morata shows Spain's Delaunay Cup before the game. 2. Highlight from Spain versus Denmark. Raya turns Dolberg's shot behind at his near post. Denmark go close first 8th. Schmeichel stoops to hold the dipping shot of Grimaldo from distance. 20. Zubimendi sends a shot wide from a tricky angle inside the box on the right. 21. Morata has a shot in the box just wide. 22. Yamal curls a shot towards the far post and Schmeichel makes a great save. 32. Raya's anticipation of Eriksen's cross and bravery in intercepting it is great. 45. Highlight from Spain versus Denmark. 46. Yamal breaks clear inside the box and shots but misses the target. 50. Highlight from Spain versus Denmark. Fabian Ruiz has a shot but misses the target. 62. Schmeichel comes out quickly to make a big full-body block to deny Morata. 66. Highlight from Spain versus Denmark. 68. Morata again misses a great chance in the box. 72. Yamal's low shot from a central position outside the box held by Schmeichel. 79. Zubimendi helps hosts finally find the breakthrough. Spain 1-0 Denmark. Uruguay tasted their first defeat in 5 games away at Peru, but they are still holding on to third place in the South American standings of the FIFA World Cup 2026 qualifiers. Despite controlling possession for most of the game, a header from Miguel Araujo in the 88th minute secured all 3 points for the hosts. Peru took a total of 13 shots, 5 more than Uruguay, but it was their precision in crucial moments that made the difference. Both teams had 3 shots on target, yet Peru's ability to convert one big chance out of the single one they created was key to their victory. On the other hand, Uruguay, despite not creating any big chances, attempted to break down Peru's defense without success. In terms of passing, Uruguay outperformed with 539 passes at an accuracy rate of 83%, compared to Peru's 316 passes with a 71% completion rate. This indicates that Uruguay controlled the game's tempo and held the ball in the opposition half more frequently. However, their efforts were often neutralized by Peru's disciplined and structured defense. Defensively, Peru committed 17 fouls and cleared 8 shots, reflecting a highly physical approach to stopping Uruguay's attacks. Uruguay, with fewer fouls at 6, focused on maintaining pressure and possession, yet their inability to penetrate Peru's defense in the final third was evident. Fede Valverde's performance in the match was characterized by his substantial involvement in midfield play, though his impact on the final score was limited. Valverde played the full 90 minutes, actively participating in the flow of the game with 87 touches, a high number that indicates his significant involvement in his team's play dynamics. Despite not contributing to goals or assists, Valverde attempted 2 shots, with one hitting the target, reflecting a moderate threat level from him in attacking positions. His pass success rate stood at 82% from 67 attempts, which is respectable and shows his reliability in maintaining possession and distributing the ball. However, his effectiveness in the final third could be questioned, as he managed only 1 chance creation and was not able to connect any of his 4 attempted crosses. In terms of advancing the ball, Valverde was proactive, making 12 passes into the final third and attempting 14 long balls, half of which found their target. Defensively, Valverde's contributions were more muted with no tackles won, but he compensated somewhat with 1 block, 3 interceptions, and 4 defensive actions overall, showing his willingness to contribute to defensive duties. His duels were efficient, winning all his contested duels both on the ground and in the air. Overall, Valverde's performance was solid in terms of engagement and maintaining structure in midfield, but lacked a bit in terms of decisive attacking contributions and defensive assertiveness. Serbia took a giant stride towards survival in the UEFA Nations League top flight by securing a 2-0 victory over near rivals Switzerland, their first ever head-to-head win. With Serbia and Switzerland essentially competing against each other to avoid relegation from Group A4, you'd have been forgiven for expecting a brighter start from 2 sides desperate to beat the other. It turned out to be quite the opposite, though, as the only bright spot in an incredibly dull start came when Veljko Birmancevic's tame effort was easily gathered by Gregor Kobel. It took until just after the half-hour mark for the game's first big chance to arrive, but it was wasted by Breel Embolo, who skewed wide after he was teed up by Sylvain Widmer. That miss proved a costly one before the break too, when in first-half stoppage time, Serbia took the lead against the run of play. There was certainly a huge element of fortune in how it came about, as Lazar Samardzic's wicked delivery caught the Swiss defense off guard and deflected in off the outstretched leg of Nico Elvedi. It was the Serbian defense caught off guard in the infancy of the second half when a well-worked short corner was prodded home by Embolo, but Dan Doy was adjudged to have strayed offside in the build-up, and Serbia's clean sheet remained intact a little longer. That was proof that the Serbian defense were living a charmed life, but it was in fact the Swiss goal that was nestled next. Aleksandar Mitrovic's endeavor saw him keep a lost cause in play, and he reaped the rewards of his tireless running when his thunderous right-footed effort found the top corner. The lead ought to have been even more comfortable soon after, when Luka Jovic's header 6 yards from goal forced a stunning point-blank save out of Kobel. His save gave the Swiss a platform to get back into the game, and they squandered a glorious chance to do so when Embolo fluffed his lines from the penalty spot after Kosta Nedeljkovic had shoved over Ndoye in the area. Switzerland weren't deterred by that miss and continued to probe for a way back into the game, twice spurning good opportunities from corners to halve the deficit heading into the closing stages. They were never able to grab a consolation, though, and they remained pointless in Group A4, leaving them staring down the barrel of a first-ever relegation out of League A. Meanwhile, Serbia now looked good value to survive in their maiden top-flight Nations League campaign. Scotland suffered a third successive defeat in the UEFA Nations League to leave them facing the real prospect of relegation after Croatia came from behind to win 2-1 in Zagreb. With the final kick of the game, the visitors were denied a dramatic equalizer when Christian Djakic inadvertently poked the ball into his own net, but substitute Che Adams was ruled offside after a long VR check. Steve Clark's side deservedly led when Ryan Christie forced the opener despite Duj Kaletakar's best efforts to clear his shot on the line, 32. But Scotland's lead lasted only 203 seconds as the 21-year-old Igor Matanovic immediately leveled with his first senior international goal, 36. Luka Modric came close to scoring a superb solo effort after nutmegging Scott McTominay and curling just wide. But Zlatko Dalic's men would complete the turnaround midway through the second half. Andrej Kramaric, earning his 99th cap for Croatia, scored with his final touch before being substituted as he converted from close range after Craig Gordon kept out Borna Sosa's initial strike. The result leaves Scotland bottom of Nations League Group A1 with 0 points from 3 games ahead of hosting Portugal at Hampden Park on Tuesday. In a dramatic finale, Adams, who replaced Lyndon Dykes after the Scots fell behind, had the ball in the net in the 5th minute of added time, only for VR to disallow the effort for offside, dealing another blow to the visitors. The Scots have found the top level of the Nations League a tough task, with defeats to Poland and Portugal in their first 2 fixtures, and they go into the game against the Portuguese with just 1 win in 15, and wondering if their luck will turn. This is now Scotland's longest winless run in competitive matches in their history, losing 6 and drawing 3 of their last 9. They've lost 4 consecutive games for the first time in 5 years, last doing so in October 2019. In mitigation, Clark was left with a depleted squad in Croatia, with over a dozen players unavailable through injury. He gave a first start to Ben Doak on loan at Middlesbrough from Liverpool, while 41-year-old goalkeeper Craig Gordon was between the sticks for the first time since November 2022, with Anthony Ralston, John Soudhar, Grant Hanley, and captain Andy Robertson making up the rest of the defense. The Super Eagles returned to the Godswill Akpabio Stadium in Uyo, seeking to extend their unbeaten start to the Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. Fresh from a resounding 3-0 victory in their last outing at the venue, Nigeria aims to build momentum against Libya. Libya's Mediterranean Knights, meanwhile, are desperate to end their 12-year AFCON absence. Head coach Milutin Sredojevic's side sits bottom of Group D with just 1 point and must quickly turn their campaign around. Nigeria boasts an impressive record in AFCON qualifying matches, losing only 1 of their last 14 outings. The Super Eagles finished as runners-up in the last AFCON edition and will look to capitalize on their strong form. Libya's last AFCON appearance dates back to 2012, and they face an uphill battle to revive their qualifying hopes. Friday's encounter presents a crucial opportunity for the Mediterranean Knights to revive their campaign, a minute of silence for the journalist that lost his life, and the game is officially underway. Throw in for Libya. Onyeka with an interception that gifts Libya a goal kick. A long ball to Ademola Lookman, but the Atalanta man unable to get the ball. Free kick for Nigeria, but the Libya makes a quick catch off the header by captain William Troost-Ekong. 10 minutes gone. Nigeria 0 Libya. Chance? Alex Iwobi forces safe off the Libyan goalkeeper as the Super Eagles come close to breaking the deadlock. Boniface blocked as she makes a run into the Libya box after receiving a pass from Frank Onyeka. Referee waves off what looked like a valid penalty for Nigeria. Lookman trees a ball across the face of goal, but the Libya stops the ball from getting to the onrushing Victor Boniface. Boniface disposed of the ball in the Libya box. Bruno Onyemacha strikes the ball, but blocked for a corner kick for the Super Eagles. Missed chance for Nigeria. Frank Onyeka fires a shot that was parried by the keeper to the path of William Troost-Ekong, but the captain fluffed the chance as he kicks the ball over the bar. Boniface disposed of the ball again by the Libyans in their box. Another close chance for Nigeria, but the ball rolls out for a second corner kick for the Super Eagles. Simon Moses with another dazzling move on the wings, but his final cross unable to connect to teammates. Another great chance. Alex Iwobi with a shot inside the box, but the Libya goalkeeper makes a point-blank save. The first half is gradually winding down. Nigeria 0-0 Libya. With Benin Republic leading Rwanda by a lone goal in the other Group D tie, the Squirrels are leading the table ahead of the Super Eagles. The Netherlands struck late to rescue a 1-1 draw against Hungary in the UEFA Nations League, UNL, to end a run of 9 straight H2H victories in this fixture for Ronald Koeman's side. The visitors immediately took control of the ball and tried to assert their authority on the game, but they were frustrated by a succession of fouls from the Hungarians as the game threatened to bubblemouth. Despite the Netherlands' early dominance, it was the hosts who came closest to opening the scoring with their first real attack of the game, when Roland Saleh was found at the edge of the area from a corner, but his curling effort smacked the outside of the post. Saleh continued to be a thorn in the side of the Dutch, and he pounced to open the scoring just after the half-hour mark. Zolt Nye showed his pace to break free on the left, and his deep cross found the Galatasaray forward all alone at the back post to lash home from close range. A bizarre mix-up from a Hungary goal kick allowed the Netherlands the chance of an indirect free kick from 10 yards out just before the break, but Cody Gakpo was denied as his powerful effort couldn't find its way through the mass of Hungarian bodies on the goal line. Ronald Koeman's needed an improvement after the break, and the Oranje responded by increasing the tempo after the break as they looked to force an equalizer. But Denzel Dumfries' cross just evaded the outstretched leg of Joshua Zirkzee for what would have been a tap-in. Substitute Brian Brobby had a great chance to level with 10 minutes to go when he headed wide, before captain Virgil van Dijk picked up 2 quick-fire bookings and was duly sent off as the Dutch started to lose their discipline. Despite that, the visitors did find an equalizer on 83 minutes when Dumfries showed great desire to thump home a header from Gakpo's free kick to silence the crowd. The draw leaves Hungary in third in Group A3, some 3 points behind the Netherlands, who trailed Germany by 2 points at the summit, denting the Orange's chances of topping their UNL group for the third time in 4 editions. Denis Undav scored twice as Germany survived a late scare to defeat Bosnia-Herzegovina 2-1 in the UEFA Nations League at the Belino Polje Stadium in Zenica. Ex-Brighton and Hove Albion man and current Stuttgart hotshot Undav struck twice in the space of 5 minutes in the first half before Edin Dzeko gave the hosts a lifeline, but Germany always looked the more likely to score again in the latter stages and came away with all of the spoils after a monumental effort. Initially, lamenting the absences of Jamal Musiala and Kai Havertz, Germany could not pick the Bosnia-Herzegovina lock in the opening 25 minutes, being met with stiff resistance from Sergej Barbarez's men as the hosts dug in for a fight. However, within the space of 5 minutes in the second quarter of the match, Undav had a brace to his name. Firstly, side-footing home after a delicate touch from Florian Wirtz before latching onto a Maximilian Mittelstadt delivery into the box. While Julian Nagelsmann's team were highly comfortable for the most part, Bosnia-Herzegovina showed a glimpse of what they are capable of on the counter. Ermedin Demirovic struck the crossbar mere seconds after Germany were denied a penalty at the other end. Barbarez's side were immediately under the cosh at the start of the second period too, but after Undav had a hat-trick goal disallowed and Germany failed to add to their lead, Dzeko headed home to reduce the deficit and set up an unmissable final 20. A member of the Bosnia-Herzegovina coaching team was sent off as tempers rose, but Germany were never under serious threat of throwing their advantage away as they moved on to 7 points from 3 games in League A Group 3. As the Netherlands could only manage a 1-1 draw with Hungary in the group's other game, Die Mannschaft are now 2 points clear at the top, while Bosnia dropped to 4th after equaling their longest-ever winless run of 9 straight matches. Bosnia-Herzegovina versus Germany highlights. Deniz Undav goal versus Bosnia-Herzegovina, 30th min. Bosnia-Herzegovina 0-1 Germany. Germany have liftoff on the half-hour mark, as Undav is the beneficiary of an absolutely exquisite assist from Bayer Leverkusen star Wirtz. The latter beats the offside trap with a perfectly timed run to meet Robert Andrich's lofted pass, but rather than go for goal from a few yards out, he taps the ball back to the arriving Undav. The Stuttgart striker ensures that Wirtz would not live to regret being unselfish with a clinical first-time finish into the bottom corner. Deniz Undav goal versus Bosnia-Herzegovina, 35th min. Bosnia-Herzegovina 0-2 Germany. Make that 3 goals in 2 starts for Germany for Undav, who doubles his and Die Mannschaft's tally for the night just 5 minutes after his opening strike. On this occasion, left-back Mittelstadt delivers a low ball to the 6-yard box, where Undav gets ahead of his man and comfortably side-foots home to put Germany in cruise control. Wales let a 2-goal lead slip as Iceland stormed back to force a deserved 2-2 Nations League draw in Reykjavik. Brennan Johnson maintained his remarkable scoring streak, and Harry Wilson was also on target as Wales established a commanding interval advantage. But Iceland substitute Logi Thomasson turned the game in the space of 3 second-half minutes as Wales were unable to stem a blue tide surging towards them. Wales came into the contest buoyed by positive performances and 4 Nations League points from Craig Bellamy's first 2 games in charge last month. Skipper Aaron Ramsey, Ethan Ampadu, and Daniel James were all missing through injury as Bellamy shuffled his pack from the 2-1 win in Montenegro. Out went Ampadu, Carl Darlow, Chris Meffam, and Lewis Kumas, with Johnson, a substitute in Nixics, among those returning after scoring in 6 consecutive games for Tottenham. Iceland, down in 71st in the world rankings and 42 places lower than Wales, included Andri Gudjohnsen, the 22-year-old son of former Chelsea and Barcelona striker Eidur. On a freezing evening and difficult pitch in the world's most northerly capital, Wales needed time to warm up as Iceland made the initial running. Wales profited from their first attack after 11 minutes as Ben Davies picked out Wilson with a superb ball over the top. Wilson's shot was partially saved by Håkon Valdimarsson, who raced back towards his goal to stop the ball going over the line. Valdimarsson managed to do that, but he could only push it back for Johnson to poke the ball home from a yard out for his 4th Wales goal. Wilson and Johnson linking up was a constant cause of concern for Iceland hosts, who created some promising positions before being let down by wayward shooting. Wilson's deflected shot struck a post with Valdimarsson rooted to the spot, but the Fulham forward did not have to wait long for his 11th Wales goal. Nico Williams' raking pass picked out Wilson's run from deep, and the left-footed finish was emphatic. France shrugged off Kylian Mbappe's absence and Antoine Griezmann's retirement to comfortably overcome Israel 4-1 in the UEFA Nations League on Thursday, October 10th. Eduardo Camavinga and Christopher Nkunku set France on their way with first-half goals in Budapest, where Israel are playing all their home games due to the security situation in the Middle East. Didier Deschamps named a squad that for the first time since 2016 did not feature either Mbappe or Griezmann. Mbappe was left out of this game and Monday's tie in Belgium to allow the France captain time to regain full fitness after a thigh injury. While the Real Madrid star's absence is only temporary, Griezmann's is permanent after his decision to quit the international scene last week. Griezmann's exit signaled the end of an era for the French side that won the 2018 World Cup and reached the final 4 years later in Qatar. Yet there was plenty to like about Deschamps' new-look lineup, captained by Real Madrid's Aurélien Tchouaméni. This win, on the back of victory over Belgium after an opening loss to Italy, leaving France second in Group A2, 1 point behind Italy. Deschamps was quick to emphasize the significant potential of his young squad. "It is through matches like this that they will gain experience for the months to come," he said. Israel are without a point after this third straight defeat. Israel coach Ran Ben Shimon named goalkeeper Omri Glazer, returning from injury, as captain. But Glazer's first interaction proved unfortunate, the captain fumbling Camavinga's tame attempt from outside the box to gift France a 7th-minute lead. The Real Madrid midfielder was almost too embarrassed to celebrate his first goal for his country in a competitive fixture. Israel leveled before the half-hour, courtesy of Omri Gandelman's stinging header, which required the seal of approval from VAR before being confirmed. But France were back in front shortly after, when Camavinga turned provider, his deft assist setting up Nkunku to slot home from a tight angle to open his account for Les Bleus. Camavinga, in a sense, was righting an unintentional wrong, as it was his training clash with Nkunku that ruled the Chelsea forward out of Deschamps' 2022 World Cup squad with a knee injury. France were rewarded for a flurry of late attacks with goals from second-half substitutes Matteo Guendouzi and Bradley Barcola. Lionel Messi, Argentina settled for 1-1 draw versus Venezuela in World Cup qualifying match. Lionel Messi played the distance on a saturated, rain-soaked pitch as the Argentine national football team settled for a 1-1 draw against host Venezuela on Thursday in a qualifying match for World Cup 2026. Argentina's Nicolas Otamendi scored in the 13th minute to give the reigning World Cup champions an early 1-0 lead, but Venezuela's Salomon Rondon scored a header inside the box to tie the match in the 65th minute. However, the pitch at Monumental Stadium of Maturin was the story in this match. The field was severely drenched as large amounts of rainwater visibly rose from the surface every time a player has made a play on the ball. Representatives from both clubs convened to discuss the playing surface, where stadium workers attempted to roll out the water from the saturated field before and during a 30-minute weather delay until the match began. The truth is that it was very difficult to play like that. The match became very ugly, very tight, Messi said after the match. "I don't want to say much, but the pitch was not in good condition for play, at least today," Argentine coach Lionel Scaloni added. Messi missed 2 shots during the match as players from both teams navigated the conditions, which affected how they played their touches and passes throughout the match. The good news for Messi: it was his first match with the national team since he suffered a right ankle injury in the Copa America final on July 14. It was a long wait to play again. It was a long time away, missing matches for the club. But I'm happy to be back, Messi said. The good news for Argentina: they remain atop the CONMEBOL World Cup qualifying standings with 19 points despite the draw. It was Argentina's first draw since a 1-1 tie against Ecuador on March 30, 2022, during qualifying for the last World Cup, which they won. "Unfortunately, we had to adapt to these circumstances, and we couldn't take the 3 points," Argentina's Rodrigo de Paul said of not being able to win. And Argentina avoided a second straight loss, which has not happened since 2016. Messi was not with Argentina for a 3-0 win over Chile on September 6th and a 2-1 loss to Colombia on September 10th in a rematch of the Copa America final. Along with the playing conditions, Argentina's travel plans were impacted by Hurricane Milton and Venezuelan travel restrictions. Miguel Terceros scored a stunning second-half goal as 10-man Bolivia continued their resurgent form in World Cup qualifiers with a 1-0 home victory over Colombia on Thursday. The game was mostly played at a pedestrian pace as the rarefied air of Estadio Municipal, located more than 4,000 meters above sea level, made breathing difficult for both sides. The hosts were reduced to 10 men in the 20th minute when Hector Cuellar was shown a straight red card for an ugly challenge on Roger Martinez. Colombia proceeded to dominate possession but lacked precision in the final third. Jean Cordoba saw his close-range attempt rebound off the left post, and goalkeeper Guillermo Vizcarra saved Luis Diaz's dangerous effort. Bolivia emerged from the halftime break with renewed vigor as Colombia began to tire. Terceros put his team ahead by running onto Robson Mattheus's pass and dribbling around two defenders before rifling a 20-yard effort into the far corner. The hosts maintained control thereafter to secure their fourth win in their past 5 qualifiers. The Verde now have 12 points from 9 outings and are 4 points behind Colombia in the 10-team South American zone standings. "I'm very happy to have been able to help the team with my goal," Terceros said after the match. "It was a difficult contest, and we have to celebrate this victory because we deserve it." Colombia manager Nestor Lorenzo bemoaned his team's wastefulness in the first half. "We knew that it was important to make the most of our chances today," he said. "Bolivia had one chance in the second half and made us pay. We had several in the first half and weren't able to capitalize." Bolivia will now turn their attention to Tuesday's duel against Argentina in Buenos Aires on Tuesday, while Colombia will host Chile in Barranquilla the same day. England 1-2, Greece. Vangelis Pavlidis double stuns Wembley and dents Lee Carsley's hopes of becoming manager. Match report, as Vangelis Pavlidis' second-half double gives Greece a 2-1 Nations League win over England at Wembley, Jude Bellingham had appeared to rescue a point with 87th-minute equalizer before late winner, which leaves England 3 points off top spot in group. Lee Carsley's honeymoon period as England interim manager came to a crashing halt as a Vangelis Pavlidis double gave Greece a deserved 2-1 Nations League win at Wembley. Carsley had appeared a shoo-in for the job ahead of kickoff, but his experimental England lineup and the disjointed performance which followed will raise more questions than answers as they fell to FIFA's 48th-ranked side. Pavlidis slotted Greece ahead 5 minutes into the second half after dancing past a number of England players. But the visitors almost led much earlier when it needed an acrobatic goal line clearance from Levi Colwill to deny Tassos Bakasetas. Cole Palmer had blasted over England's best chance of the night, before that with Anthony Gordon also culpable when miscuing a header from Trent Alexander-Arnold's cross, as the hosts managed just a single shot on target before Jude Bellingham struck an 87th-minute equalizer. The 21-year-old carried the weight of a nation on his shoulders yet again as he popped up with another late leveler when his long-range effort was parried into the top corner in the 87th minute. That briefly looked like rescuing a valuable point in England's hopes of winning their Nations League group, but with those aspirations now cast into serious doubt, Carsley's fate may face similar scrutiny after his tactical gamble backfired so spectacularly. England interim manager Lee Carsley to ITV Sport. "We were second best for a lot of tonight. It's disappointing. We are going to get setbacks, and it's important we respond versus Finland. We tried something different and play differently. We tried it for 20 minutes yesterday, and it's disappointing it didn't come off. It's a case of trying again. With the quality we have, all the goals were from mistakes. Even at 1-1, we were quite fortunate at that point. It's an option, the system. When you have someone of Kane's quality, it rules it out. We tried something, and in the future, we need that courage to try. We tried something different." Italy were held to a 2-2 draw by Belgium on Thursday after Lorenzo Pellegrini was sent off and they squandered a 2-0 lead but remained top of Nations League A Group 2. Italy lead the standing on 7 points, one ahead of France, who beat Israel 4-1, with Belgium third on 4. Italy scored in the first minute when winger Federico Di Marco fired a low cross into the box, and Belgium keeper Koen Casteels saved the first shot from Andrea Cambiaso, who bundled in the rebound. Italy doubled the lead in the 24th minute, when Di Marco volleyed the ball across the field to Cambiaso, who was denied a second by Casteels, before striker Matteo Retegui knocked in the loose ball. Coach Luciano Spalletti's team were cruising until midfielder Pellegrini was sent off for hitting Belgium defender Arthur Theate at the end of the first half, following a VAR review. The red card galvanized the Belgians, and they immediately hit back through Maxim de Kuyper, who halved the deficit with a curling shot from the edge of the box after a clever free kick routine. "There are episodes that change the games," Spalletti said, referring to the red card. Belgium started the second half strongly and equalized in the 61st minute when Leandro Trossard poked home from close range following a header by Wout Faes. "Too bad we did the first 40 minutes until the expulsion grate," said Cambiasso. Belgium, who faced Italy without injured captain Kevin De Bruyne and striker Romelu Lukaku, face a key clash with France on Monday. When Italy face Israel, Theate said Belgium still had chances to finish in the top two and qualify for the Nations League quarterfinals. "We should have won with 10 against 11. We didn't do it, but we have a key game with France now," he said.